G'day and welcome to all four quarters. It is a footy show which me and Dom Cunha have put together where we talk about all the issues that have happened in the past weekend of footy. This is my co-host Dominic Cunha and how are you, Dom?
Yeah, it's lovely to be here. It's a really good opportunity for me to do a footy show and let's get stuck into it.
Yeah, we're just going to be addressing a few points that have happened over the weekend. First, the point is it's Friday night's match, which was Geelong Sydney.
Yeah, at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Yeah.
What was happening with the defence, Dom?
Well, the first quarter there was 15 goals scored from both sides. From a spectator's point of view, it was a really good contest. But I think there were only two people who didn't really like the spectacle, and that was the two coaches. They would have been fuming. They hate it when it's a shootout and the defence is just sloppy. It just does not go well with the coaches' minds. What did you think of the game?
Oh, as a spectator, I was enjoying it, but when you look at the A-grade players, they can't afford to let minute slip-ups happen. We saw Motlop's goal. He just blitzed through the entire pack. No one could see him coming.
Well, some would say that's just pace that just got all the defenders.
You could say that, but at the same time, it's just they're a premiership team, Sydney. And if they keep performing this way, well, then they're not going to make finals this year. Who knows?
I'm pretty sure it was just one bad performance. I thought it was a good spectacle, so I think it's probably best we just move on.
Fair enough.
All right. Next one is well, Carlton finally got on the board this season.
I know, on the board finally. So
yeah,
up there.
Yeah. I guess Morehouse finally got a win with the Blues.
Yeah, well,
and it was a good defensive performance. Although I must say, West Coast Eagles kicking was absolutely atrocious. Kicking seven goals, 23 behinds just does not win you a game.
They really have to step up their accuracy in front of goal. Michael Crard, maybe the only accurate kicker on that team at the moment. But
coming back from a broken arm, really good for him. Yeah.
It's a lot of points. Like Morehouse really needed this win. If he didn't get this, who knows where the Blues would have been.
Well, some would say that it's the end of their season if they lost this game, but maybe we're going a bit. Maybe we'll just.
It really was. It was a do or die situation for this match, and the fact that they got over the line in the end, that was actually very, very good to see the Blue Boys get up. I was happy with that.
Been very proud of their effort.
Very happy with that.
Thank you, records. Anyway, we moved to Saturday's game where Collingwood were able to, undermanned, were able to get up and defeat a resurgent Richmond in front of 80,000 at the MCG.
Yeah, it was really good to see the Pies get up in the end. I think Travis Cloke led the banner right there. 7 goals from him. That's
pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah. Although he's not a consistent player as we've seen in other games.
I think with last year he was still, the contract was still on his mind, and he wasn't performing well last year. But now he's got the 5 years up. I think it's a good thing that it's over and done with, and he can perform to his best. And see, kicking 7 goals is what he can do.
Now, to segue with the contract talks, Lance Franklin, do you think he would stay at Hawthorn?
My gut feeling is that he'll stay at Hawthorn at the moment, considering they probably have enough space in their salary cap to offer him a decent deal. Although I still think the going home factor with Fremantle going back to Perth might weigh in his mind that although Fremantle could be giving him up nearly $2 million a season and he could go back home, could entice him to go away. And other clubs obviously like GWS, Gold Coast, even Carlton and Port Adelaide were even going for a spot for Franklin. But my gut feeling is I think he'll stay with them.
Now, see, it's a bit dicey here because he's put off contract talks until the end of the season. So we really...
Yeah, but so did Travis Cloke last year. But I think he just the idea is they want to see what contracts they can get, so they wait up to the end of the season and then they can decide what contract is best for them. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to stay or leave the club, it's just he wants to see what contracts he can get.
Now, Port Adelaide game, I was watching this match with great enthusiasm, and just to see the Power get over the Suns in the end was just, despite a marvellous effort from Gary Ablett,
I think he was tagged again this time, and he had a broken hand, so he was pretty much playing with one hand.
Yeah, and still he was dominating areas in the game. He was moving it quickly, but Schultz, who would have thought? 3 weeks, and I'm pretty sure Mark of the Year is either going to go to Schulte or Howe.
Oh, Jeremy Howe reckons probably.
Jeremy Howe is probably favourite at the moment after he took a hanger. Actually, took another hanger on Sunday. Yeah, against GWS.
Although I do have to say, going back to the Port Adelaide thing, what a turnaround. Last year they sacked their coach after losing to GWS, and now they've got a brand new coach. They were able to sign up those players. They were able to get a couple of extra players like Pierce from. They got rid of Pierce and they were able to get one from Essendon, and they got a couple of GWS players as well. It's great to see that they were able to turn around their form, and who would have thought after 4 rounds that they're undefeated? Such a marvellous.
Bringing on that whole spectacle with undefeated, some people have been saying, like, if you're successful, there's always going to be controversy surrounding you, but people have been saying that their season start has been rather simple. They've only had the one challenge, which was the Adelaide Crows, and that was at the Adelaide Derby. And think of it, they've had Melbourne, Gold Coast, GWS and Adelaide. I don't know, let's put this out like...
But you have to remember, they were in a pretty low position last year, so the AFL were able to do the fixture to suit their position last year. So I can see how it's happened, but I still think 4 and zip is a marvellous achievement, and hopefully they can keep going, because they've got a big game this week against West Coast.
That'll
be very, very interesting.
It'll be an interesting game to watch, that one.
It will be.
Now, next for this, Essendon undefeated, but their injuries are piling up. We saw it barely go down on Saturday. Bit worried about the Bombers. Are we seeing a repeat of last year?
I don't think so, because the entire program has changed from last year. Obviously, all the controversies that they had at the moment, they're forced to completely change their whole structure in terms of sports science and doctor and their training physique. So, I think they'll probably might get a letdown towards the end of the season, when I think that the asylum investigations could get the better of them. But I think they'll get close to making finals, if not be there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting for the Bombers actually at the moment. Some people say they're doing it for Hurdy. Other people say they're doing it to reclaim their former glory. Which one do you think?
I think it's more of a case of doing it for James Hird. Considering he's under so much pressure, it's a good performance for the boys. They should keep going. Anzac Day will be massive.
Anzac Day will be a massive match. That's happening on Thursday.
Come on!
A couple of vivid Collingwood fans in the
audience.
Now,
speaking onto that game, obviously Brendan Guy played his game. His first game against the Saints. Safe to say he was pretty emotional at the end of the game.
Sook, yeah. Some people would label him a sook. Others would label him a quote-unquote pussy. But
I disagree. I think it just shows that he is human, and that he really loves the Secure Football Club, and you can see just how much it hurt him that he left the club for a better deal at Essendon.
Some people say he left for money. Others said he left for new opportunities.
I think both.
But it was really sad when he kicked his first goal of the match. The amount of boos that went around that he had stadium. You don't want to see that.
It's footy, mate. You have to expect that.
You don't want to see that. Respect the player of the AFL.
But you're going to get that anyway if anyone's going to leave a club. It's just footy. You do it. That's what spectators do.
Just his jaw.
Now, this is a big issue here. Hawthorn were able to get another win over the weekend, but Sean Makers has teared his ACL and will be out for the rest of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing with young Shuey. He was actually starting to play a lot of good football.
Yeah, it looked like he was really trying to... It looked like he finally got his game right. And unfortunately, it's the third time it's happened in the Roar Stadium.
The Hawks haven't really got a good track record for injuries at all.
Yeah, I know. But now, it opens the door for Brian Lake.
The former dog.
Yes.
Can he make it into the team?
Last year, it would have been a massive problem considering he had no one else to cover. Now that you've recruited Brian Lake, it's a perfect opportunity for him to get into the side and be that number one backman to support Gibson and all the rest of the defenders. So it's a big call, but I think he really needs to step up this season if the Hawks are going to win this premiership.
It's promising signs for Brian Lake. He played in the VFL game against Geelong this week. He kicked 1-1.
As a backman.
Oh, as a backman, he kicked 1-1. Unfortunately, didn't get the Hawks over the line, down by 5 against the Mighty Cats. But as we can see, he's starting to really shape up as a true individual player, and he'll fit well at Hawthorn.
Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree.
Now, the Eagles.
Now, we've already touched base on this before. You know, all the games, they claim that Patterson Stadium is their fortress and they never lose there. But they've already played 3 games there and they've already lost all 3 of them.
It's not looking very good for the Mighty Eagles at the moment. Like, they lost to Hawthorn there, they lost to Freo there.
And now they've lost to Carlton.
And now Carlton's finally actually gotten them. And are the Mighty Eagles struggling at the moment?
Well, at the moment, you would have to say they are, because they're simply not performing.
Yeah, you can even, like, their accuracy was horrible last week. It was
absolutely.
7 goals 23.
It's not AFL standard, that's for sure.
Yeah, and 3 goals 17 off set shots alone. That's just not acceptable from a professional AFL team. You expect that stuff from juniors who are in Auskick. You don't expect that from true AFL professional players. True AFL professional players who are getting paid to play the game. It's just not right. It isn't right.
I know you're very strong about this, but I think I have to agree with you here. Although I think that was just a one-off. Although it was no chance. I think it's probably best to move on.
Yeah, you can agree that it was just a one-off, but I think we'll really find out next week, which is a tough game there.
Yeah, Port Adelaide.
Port Adelaide had Amy, so
I'm actually gonna. You know what? I think I'll save my tips for later at the end of the show. Anyway, now.
Oh, shout out to Spanky Regal.
Yeah, we have a couple of clowns in the crowd at the moment. Okay, now we move on to Melbourne here. Finally, they were able to get a victory over the weekend. Thank goodness, I say. Thank goodness.
After the Dank allegations, after all the after the GWS game, everyone thought Melbourne would just walk over him, but I don't know. Can Mark Neal return to their former glory?
Well, their former glory hasn't been around for a long time.
Yeah, some people say that it's almost hurting him.
No, I think they'll be fine for now. Hopefully the media can get off them.
Yeah. Anyway, so North Melbourne.
Well, they had a good victory over the weekend. Very good to see Manchester finally make his long-awaited debut. He looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be a very good AFL football towards the future. Looks really promising.
Yep, so let's just...
That also brings up Brisbane. I think they're almost in dire straits at the moment because they're versus Melbourne next week at the Gabba.
Yeah.
I have a feeling if the Lions lose this game, Michael Voss could be under severe pressure because his team has not been performing.
It's not good signs for Brisbane Lions after that NAB Cup victory, which was so convincing. Now to be walked over by so many clubs, it's not right.
No, it isn't.
Now, Stephen Dank, I believe you feel very strongly about this. So I'll let you take it game here.
Unfortunately, I hate to bring it up, Chris, and everyone else, but we've had an asylum investigation that's been dragged along since February. And they've had, obviously, Essendon has come up to say that they've got an investigation into allegations of what supplements they took during last season. And now, Stephen Dank has brought up that Melbourne was also involved last year. I hate to say it, but I think Stephen Dank has got it completely wrong. Yes, you were involved and you gave him the supplements, but I just think that you don't have a place anymore in Australian sport in general. You've got Essendon in trouble now in front of the media. You've also got the NRL Cronulla Sharks who are also in dire straits that could be on the verge of folding or merging with another NRL club. And now, just when you thought Melbourne had enough issues, they have to come in with this investigation now.
Yeah, but
as a result, their doctor has had to stand down. Now, I'm sorry, but Stephen Dank, enough's enough. You've brought the entire Australian sport into disrepute. I think it's about time you moved on and just said, I got it wrong. I shouldn't have given, if the allegations are true, that they shouldn't have given performance-enhancing drugs to any of the teams. I think it's about time he moved on because it's just not working.
Yeah, it's not right. Like we've seen Dan Bates. He's obviously lost his job now.
He's still down, so he could come back later after investigation.
After the Asada investigation's finished, should be back. We'll move on to the sliding rule. Now, this is something I'm very vocal about because we've seen a lot of sliding that's been happening, but they've been called like a couple of weeks back in the Hawthorn-Collingwood game. We saw Harry O'Brien make collision with Luke Hodges' head, and Luke Hodges got the free kick, but then Steele sidebomb down the other side of the ground. Same thing happens, and Steele sidebomb gets the free kick. What is going on? If the umpires don't know what,
and the players don't know what either,
it's not
on the dirty.
It shouldn't be a rule. Like if you can't specify it clearly, then just get rid of it.
Well, I think that's the problem. I can see why they've interpreted the rule, and that is to stop players from breaking their legs like Gary Rowan last year. The problem is the umpires and the umpire officials haven't interpreted correctly. I think we need to take the term is forceful contact below the knee. I think that's where the umpires are getting lost.
Yeah, they're almost like taking accidental contact.
Yeah, that's just not right. If it's forceful contact, I think that's when the free kick is. Otherwise, that just got it wrong, and it needs to be sorted out pretty quickly.
Anyway, so we've got to wrap up, so we'll just go through our tips. So game 1 on Friday night.
Actually no, Thursday's Anzac Day.
Thursday night,
We've got two games. We've got obviously the big Essendon Collingwood blockbuster.
Yeah.
I think even though Essendon's undefeated, I'll back Collingwood.
I would back Collingwood, but they're kind of their injury list is piling up, as you can see.
The thing is, they've got depth. I can see with Collingwood, they've got enough depth to continue along. They've been able to beat 3 of the top 4 sides over this past month.
Well, I'm going to say Essendon for this by at least 2 goals.
Yeah, I'll say Collingwood to win by
Okay.
Now, we move straight after that game. There's going to be the first match ever to be played outside Australia for premiership points. St Kilda hosts Sydney in Wellington, New Zealand.
It's actually a really big step for the AFL.
It is a very big step to finally get out of Australian play free.
It's almost unheard of.
I wouldn't say it's unheard of, it's a good step.
I'm actually going to... St Kilda have been rather... They haven't had a good start to the season. But I really think it's time for them to step up. So I'm actually going to... I'm going to pick a roughie.
Oh, this is an upset.
And I'm just thinking the Saints will get on top by at least... By
it's a big call, but I'm sorry. I'm gonna go safe and say Sydney will win pretty comfortably. Now, Friday night, a very interesting game coming up. Fremantle versus Richmond in Perth.
Now, this is kind of do or die for Fremantle.
I think it's a bit too early to say that.
I can say it.
Even the crowd agrees with me.
Fremantle, they've had a reasonably easy start to the year. And they just choked against Essendon, they choked against the Hawks, and I've got a feeling they're going to choke again this week, so I'm going to say the Tigers by at least a goal or 2, so...
Yeah, I agree, Richmond will win.
Yeah.
Now, first game we start off is GWS Gold Coast.
Whoa, big game here.
In Canberra.
Now, both teams here, both searching for wins. GWS still looking for their first win of the season.
GWS is the young side winless. So yeah.
And Gold Coast, they're looking to get another win on the board after they got their first round win against St Kilda. So
yeah, I think Gold Coast will get up against GWS.
Yeah.
Another big game.
I'm going to agree with you on that. So yeah, Gold Coast.
Another big game. Carlton versus Adelaide.
Our crowd momentum is with the Blues here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm going to disappoint them.
See, drop 3 votes.
And I'm going to say, even though they did win last week, they're going to struggle to get on top of the mighty Adelaide Crows. So I'm going to say the Crows by 3 goals.
I can see your point of view, but I'm going to back Carlton. I think they'll win. Now, Bulldogs Geelong at Etihad Stadium. I think it's pretty safe to say the Cats are
This is a no-brainer. This is at least Cats by
Cats, I think the Cats...
6 plus. 6
Yeah.
plus goals.
I think the Cats will destroy the Dogs.
It's really a walkover.
Yeah, unfortunately. Now, the other Saturday night game, Port Adelaide and West Coast at Amy Stadium in Adelaide.
Interesting game here.
This game could go either way.
Now, Port Adelaide are undefeated, but their season's been a bit easy. West Coast,
They've been disappointed, West Coast.
same, but I reckon it's time for them to step up to the plate. I'm sure they'll be taking on their accuracy this week, so I'm going to say West Coast by a goal or two. So
Cousins. The Eagles.
I think, you know what? I think Port Adelaide will get them at home. I think they'll stay undefeated. I truly believe that. Now Sunday, we move to Brisbane versus Melbourne at the Gabba.
at the Gabba now.
Big pressure on Brisbane here.
Now I'm going to say Brisbane just for the fact that Melbourne were severely in danger before this round.
They were.
And
They were able to get up. Credit to them, kicking 12
they were
goals in the
able,
last quarter.
but I think Travelers just going to wear it out. So
Yeah, I think Brisbane will get them. I think they'll get them.
Brisbane will get them by at least 4 goals.
Yeah.
So
Now, the final game. Hawthorn, North Melbourne at the MCG.
now North have something to prove here. Last
I would
year,
love to see Magic Door play again.
although this could go both ways. When Hawthorn played North Melbourne at Aurora last year, they absolutely flogged them by
100 plus points.
100 plus
Yeah.
points. It was a
And Buddy
massive
kicked
win.
13 goals in that
Massive win. But then for the next 8-9 games, North Melbourne had either won them or come reasonably close. So I reckon that Hawks will get up, but for the coming weeks, I reckon North will just push forward. They'll start to rise to the occasion.
I kind of agree. I'm tipping Hawthorn for this game, but North Melbourne will still be challenging for finals.
It'll be good. Right, so I'm Mr. Griffiths.
And I'm Dominic Cunyo.
And this is all 4 quarters, and thank you for watching. I wash up in the gutter, I do not want to attack. All the time I'm thinking on where to fight back. Now I'm trying to lose it, don't know where to go. I might go to my uncle's, he knows where I'm from. My mama, she used to hurt me. Every time I cry and hurt me.